Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Games to the Max. And it is a full house here because we've had two huge news events in the time that we've had the last episode. One from PlayStation, one from Xbox. We'll get into both of them here today. One with PlayStation closing Bluepoint Studios and Xbox just deciding to throw out the old and bring in the new, and well, one old guy also. But and Mark and Randy have also been playing some games. Mark's been playing Romeo's a Dead Man, more Neo 3. Randy got to check out some of the Sons of the God of War Sparta game and also Reanimal. So we'll get into some gaming talk. And if we can get into the other new stuff, we'll get into that. But this is Video Games to the Max for this week, and we'll get into all of that right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and skip the housekeeping here to save some time. Let's go ahead and start things. Well, wait a minute. Just 1 second. Randy, how has your week been? You're avoiding the crazy storms, I assume?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know what you guys are going through. Up here in the Northwest, it was like 60 degrees today. So we've had no issues up here. I don't know what's happening in the rest of the country, but
are you having it as bad as the Northeast, Mark? Oh, you're on mute. Let me unmute him. Or no, he muted himself, so I can't unmute him.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Sorry. No, it snowed here yesterday for like half an inch, but it's all gone already now. So,
okay, so you're not getting as bad as up there.
Oh, yeah, no, 18 inches or anything. So
work was absolutely horrid today because everything that was in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania was closed. Nobody decided to tell us that they're closed. So yeah, that was really fun. So that's why we're starting this episode later than we normally do. Because I had to work all the way until when we almost started this episode. So, and then, Windows 11 magic is great too. I now know what Mark says when he hates it. Until then, I really hadn't had a problem with it. But, we'll talk about some Windows stuff here when we get to Xbox. But let's go ahead and start as we normally do with the games that we're playing.
The good news.
Let's get into some actual good news before we get to the bad news. Randy, you were on the episode for the State of Play where they announced this God of War Sons of Sparta game, and you have played it. You told me you ran into a slight issue with it.
Issue on my own part. But I'm about 4 hours into this game, and my review for 4 hours is it's fine. All right. There's so much hubbub about it online. Oh, it looks horrible. What a terrible game. It's not that, but it's also not good. It's a fine game. Like, I'm sure if I ever get around to finishing it, it'll be between a 6 and a 7 for me. Like, it is just the most generic Metroidvania you can think of. Cool story stuff. I like that it is based around Kratos talking to his daughter about his past, about his childhood. So there's a lot of interactions between the two. Like, you'll do a story beat and then you'll have them just kind of talking in the background as you're headed to the next spot. So the way they do the story is kind of fun. Hopefully it gets more interesting than where I'm at so far. I've heard it's a really long game, which is surprising. I actually kind of hoping it was a bit shorter. But there's a lot of checklisty things to do. It kind of does that modern Metroidvania now where like you unlock something or you find one item and it's like, all right, now we'll have a checklist for you that you found 1 of 11 in this area of that one thing. And it kind of Ubisofts the Metroidvania experience. But other than that, it's fine. Other than there's just a lot of those things to find. Combat is okay, but I think the big thing that we talked about during the State of Play kind of came through. Like, I don't know why you show this after you show how cool Castlevania looked. And in a world that we had a Prince of Persia turn into a Metroidvania, this God of War game just doesn't get anywhere near it. Again, it's not bad. It's very forgettable. But I'll probably continue to play it a bit. It's not one that I would recommend. It's probably going to be one of those kind of games that you just kind of wait for it to hit PlayStation Plus, and then you can give it a shot, see if you like it. But you can definitely tell the way Sony delivered the news on this is they gave a different studio a chance. It turned out to be an okay game, so they just threw it out for free, or not for free, but they threw it out like day of, like, all right, it's out today, kind of a thing, and hope that people would buy it before the reviews really hit. Because again, all the reviews that I've seen, I 100% agree with. It's there. It's not going to be a game that any of us remember when it comes time for Game of the Year by any means.
Yeah, it will not be on someone's Game of the Year. If it's on somebody's Game of the Year list, we really had a bad year for games.
Yes.
At that point, or just none of us played anything.
And we're a month and a half in, and I can already tell you it's not going to make my
top. It's just from all the stuff I've played already, the like 7 games that I've been able to play, all of those are on there before this would even. Yeah. So
I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, why did you make it?" It's like, this is really cool for that studio to get a chance, because all they were doing was like porting the backyard baseball games and stuff, and now you get a chance with the God of War IP and try something different. I hope
made a WrestleMania Wrestling too that I reviewed.
I did, yeah. Actually, that was a bad game. That was a bad game.
It was fine. It was also fine. I thought.
Yeah,
it's like fine.
It was a non-memorable.
If they hadn't had named wrestlers, I think I would have put it in the that's bad category.
Random YouTubers, randomly splattered all over just to try to get the YouTubers to talk about the game.
Right.
Again, it's
as opposed to random YouTubers wrestling in WWE.
To be fair, Logan Paul has totally redeemed himself.
Yeah.
So
listen. Logan Paul is actually legit good, and who's the other one? Speed got murdered in his one appearance, so he paid his dues too.
That's true. Randy, you've been excited for Reanimal.
Yes.
How does it stack up for you?
So I've been playing it co-op with my son. We were both super excited about it. It was one of those games where we saw the trailers, we knew it was coming out, and then we just kind of avoided it. Like, we didn't want to know anything else about it. Right. It is very much like Little Nightmares 1 and 2. This is a better Little Nightmares 3 than what Little Nightmares 3 turned out to be with the people that kind of took that over. So I will say that. However, this is not as good. Like, they do their best. Obviously, they know the way set pieces work, and the creepiness of the creatures is fantastic, and that's what really sold you on Little Nightmares 1 and 2. It's just the weirdness of everything, but that's it. That's what this game sells itself on. It's just that creepy factor that you get into. But besides that, it is rinse repeat. You get to a new place, you learn what the new enemy is. You have to solve one of the most generic puzzles you've ever seen in your life. You climb some stairs, climb some ladders. There have been times where we found a solution to a puzzle before we got to the puzzle. Like the puzzles are that easy. We went, what is this? And then we would see a door and go, oh, it goes to that. All right, it makes sense. Then you have an interaction with the creature. You run away from said creature. You fight some little versions of said creature. You have a boss battle. Then you move on to the next set. Rinse, repeat so far. We're a little over 2/3 of the way in. I only know that because there's trophies in this game. One that says how many secrets you found in the first 3 chapters, what you found in the middle 3, and we have now found secrets in the final 3. So I know we're in the back third of the game. We're enjoying it. It is still a lot of fun co-op, but it's one of those games. It's very short. It's fun to experience, but I was hoping for a little bit more with them being able to step out. Just, again, the platforming is not great. The puzzles are super generic. But if you like the set pieces of Little Nightmares and you like the crazy creatures, this does a lot more 3D stuff with it. So you're not just going left to right. You know, stuff's coming from you from the background as well, which kind of adds to the fun of it. You get to drive some vehicles. You drive a boat a lot in this game as you go from set piece to set piece. But Again, as we're nearing the end, I would say that the scores that are coming out right now, because I have it on our fantasy critic, and I think it's a 81. Like an 8 sounds totally fine with this game. It's a good game, but it's definitely not another. It's another one of those games that if it ends up in my top 10, it's because I stopped playing games as frequently as I have in the first month and a half, and I just didn't get to them. But I'd put this over God of War. I'd probably put this over Big Hops, which is the only game I've fully completed. So right now it would probably be my game of the year, just out of the small games that I've played. But it's just one of those games, fun to experience, but it's not going to be memorable. It's not going to kind of have that lineage that the first two Little Nightmares games did.
Well, it's hard to hear that it didn't live up to the lofty expectations that they already had, but for a first time getting to be out of the shadow of Bandai Namco and be under Embracer now and all that stuff, I don't know if they were given a longer leash, like they were allowed to kind of do their own thing now, or the opposite. But at least it's a good game.
Yeah,
still it's not like you hated it.
So. I would suggest playing it in co-op, because then you kind of find the fun of trying to get to places, and watching my son's reaction to some of the creepies that show up is always fun, and that way you're not waiting for an AI character to help you solve stuff, and it's kind of been fun to work through things. But I was really hoping that it was going to be one of those games where we were trying to solve problems, and literally it's like, oh, how do we do this? Oh, that. Okay. And then we'll just move on. So that part's a little disappointing. I was hoping for a little bit more puzzly experience, but totally fine. Good game.
All right. Well, Mark, you've been playing more Neo 3. You also got to play Romeo's a Dead Man, which I haven't been able to touch yet. I'm making that my mission to be able to start playing that this week. Dang it. What do you think of Romeo's a Dead Man?
It's a bad example of style over substance. And the substance
is it any worse than the other Suda51 games? I mean, that's kind of what this game is.
I mean, I played Romeo's. I played the only other one I played was Killer 7. I think that's what it was called.
You never played Lollipop Chainsaw or Shadow of the Damned?
No. I know they're better.
Wrong with me. All right.
I think I played like a demo of Shadows of the Damned once, but it didn't stick with me that much. The problem with Romeo's a Dead Man is it has a bunch of shooting in it, and the shooting's bad. So that's a problem, and it has a lot of really stupid jokes and nonsense, and it's just get to the game.
I mean that's Suda.
Yeah,
all over it. They have nonsense.
After 20 years, you should evolve a little,
I appreciate that he does his stuff, and it is what it is. I'm not saying that I'm going to like the game any more or less, because I tend to like some of the silly stuff, but I've heard that as well, that some of the silly stuff is over the top, it's too much.
Right.
And it doesn't seem to serve a purpose. Whereas go ahead.
So I beat the first level, or the first main level is a mall, which is kind of cool. And then after that, it's you get transported back to your ship, and it's you have a training mission with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 20-minute long sequence, and you basically run through an area that looks like it's straight out of Twin Peaks, including the Red Room, basically. You go in this room, you fight an enemy, a boss enemy, and that's it. And then you run out. And it's why is this taking so long? Or, can't you speed this up a little? Why does this in this environment at all? Can't you just have it be in some VR room and be done with it? Did you need this whole setup? No. And there's a mysterious guy in the background. It's I'm sure he's going to come back later on, but still, but yeah, it's the shooting. The shooting is the problematic part, because the bosses have weak points on them that you can barely ever hit. The first boss, all the bosses are also huge, but the first boss has a weak point on her thigh, facing you, and then a weak point on her ass, and it's the thigh one you can hit pretty well because he's always facing you, but to get to the ass one, it's she always turns around to face you. So unless you like wedge her into a corner, like forget it. I can hear someone speaking in the background.
I forgot to. I did not know they were going to get even closer. It's because we have a young cat that we have a whole setup where essentially the cats are stuck in this little small quadrant,
Right.
and the two older cats don't care because they are older and they don't want to jump over this huge barrier. The small cat is young and lively and just wants to be free.
Right.
So she just keeps jumping over the thing constantly. And it's like, okay, put you back in, put you back out, put you back in. I'm like, thank God I work when I'm here and I don't have to deal with being the one that has to go chase the thing down. But whatever. So I'm sorry if you heard screaming in the background there. But no animals were hurt in the process of. So I'm sorry, Mark. I've also heard that like there's no parry, there's no whatever. So like you're just
You have like a dodge, and that
yeah,
you have like a dodge, and then you get like a roll like after the first mission, which is still not great.
right,
And combat, like melee combat's like dead simple. It's just heavy attack and light attack,
right.
and then you occasionally press like the R1 button to do your health regen attack. So, and you have like summons. You have like what they call bastards, but they're just zombies that you can like grow. And some of them are effective. Like one's like a shooter, or one gives you like a temporary shield that doesn't last like long at all. But it's like, I could deal with this system, but why bother? Like it seems really ineffective.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you play it, I mean, let me know what you think, but I don't think you'll stick with it for too long either.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad after all the stuff is shook out that I don't have to review that game. So,
Yeah,
we'll see.
and there are parts that are interesting, but everything else gets in the way. So
that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
The part that you want to
and
see is
there's like one of the characters gives you like a 60 or 70 question quiz that is complete nonsense. And the answers don't change. And I just looked up, like, I failed the first 2 times because she's like, it's like the nurse character on the ship. And she's like, the first question's like, well, how are you doing? Or how are you feeling? And the answer is like, I'm okay, I'm feeling bored, or I'm lonely, or something like that. And I selected like, I'm okay, and I failed the quiz.
So how dare you feel okay, Mark?
Yeah.
You can't feel okay playing that game.
I looked up a guide and I just did all these like stupid nonsensical questions, and you get like no reward at all either. I think you got like 10 experience or something like really meaningless. So I'm like,
oh, that sucks.
Yeah, this is a good use of my 10 minutes.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, it's also timed. You have there's like a 10-second timer per answer. So
wonderful.
And you can't pause
That's
either.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that all sounds great.
Yep.
Okay. Any more thoughts on Neo 3?
Me and Ninja are stuck right now on a boss. We'll hopefully get back to it soon. We're over leveled, but the guy just like destroys us. So we'd have to get serious about it for now.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to bring up, or
I got an old cartoon I used to watch as a kid for DVD today. Finally.
Which cartoon is that?
Spider-Man.
The original.
No, the Fox
animated?
Kids one's like the mid-90s one.
Hey, that one's still good.
Yeah, that one's the best.
Okay. Well, all right. So let's go ahead and move along here to the what we have been kind of delaying, just to talk about something good. So let's go ahead and start with the one that's just focused on one aspect of PlayStation, which is unfortunately Sony and PlayStation deciding that they want to close, or they did close, Bluepoint Studios effective March 2026. Apparently they were folks in the studio that were offered other jobs at SIE and they declined. According to people that have spoken to people that worked with the team, but obviously they can't, name themselves. It all has to be kind of anonymous. This was, first reported by Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg. And it's kind of just shocking that they just kind of come out of nowhere and announce this. And Hermen Hulst was the one that kind of delivered the news. And his statement really, I don't know what you want to call that. If it's more damning on where PlayStation is headed or what it kind of shows about what their focus is. Randy is the, resident PlayStation guy here. What did you think when you heard this after you read some information? What's your thoughts on this here?
Oh, it's just devastating and terrible. And we all saw this coming. I mean, not for Bluepoint, but we all saw a crash happening with Sony years ago when they were like, we're going to make 500 live service games and we're going to try to make the next Apex Legends. And we're going to have all our studios that aren't used to making multiplayer games work on multiplayer games. And it's going to all work out fantastic. Oh, wait, the Concord came out and it was awful and nobody played it. So we shut it down. And now we have to look at all these other games and these are not done. That's great. So we're just going to close these games. So hopefully this is a word of warning to these smaller studios. Don't sell out to Sony or Microsoft because it's going to end up badly for you, especially this day and age of video games and how expensive everything is.
Yeah.
Like it seems like a great idea short term, but remind me if my timing is wrong. They were brought in by Sony after the Demon Souls remake, right? Like they did.
No, they were already owned by Sony.
Yeah, before.
But it wasn't much.
I think it was it before or after Shadow of the Colossus remake?
No, because it was like 2020, wasn't it? When Demon Souls.
No, Demon Souls remake was 2020, but they were brought in before then.
Yeah, but they've only been around for 5 years under Sony. Like I think they were a partner.
Sony owned them from 2021 to 2026.
Yeah. So
right.
after.
Okay, so after Demon Souls.
So Sony buys them after Demon Souls and then jerks them around for 5 years trying to get them to make something.
I mean, technically, Bluepoint was the one that pitched the God of War live service game. Yeah. Although I'm sure that Jim Ryan went to all these studios and said, you got to pitch me. You can make what you want, but you got to pitch me a live service game that you want to make.
Instead of continuing to do exactly what Bluepoint has been known for and remaking games and making collections and doing these amazing things, do something they're not used to. Oh, it didn't work. Now we're shutting you down. Right. So they never made a game under the Sony umbrella this whole time.
Yeah, you're right.
All of us since 2020. What are they doing? What are they doing? Apparently, it ends up being nothing. And
every year that was the big one, right? Because they had made Demon Souls remake had been so successful for them. A launch game for the PlayStation 5, one of the highlights of the PlayStation 5 launch. And everybody was like, oh, they got to be making Bloodborne. They got to be making something else, like anything, whatever great PlayStation. There was so many different, most of it was Bloodborne, but there was other games that were mentioned of like, oh, Bluepoint could be doing this. Siphon Filter, I think at one point, they could be doing this. And it's like, that all sounds awesome. Please be doing that. And then you find out, oh, they're doing God of War, but it's God of War multiplayer. Who wanted that? And look, Ghost of Tsushima, that worked out. I'm sure Ghost of Yute will be great. The Horizon one might be okay, but it doesn't mean that every major franchise that you have, and Last of Us probably would have been fine too if they would have actually let it happen. But like, it doesn't mean that every single one of your franchises needs to focus on that. Major franchises, So.
The one thing I'll say, I mean, you brought it up. The Ghost games, or at least Tsushima, I've heard has a pretty good multiplayer, and Yote we'll see next month. But that wasn't the game,
right?
That was an extra,
and that also wasn't live service. It was kind of meant as a extra thing.
So it just sucks that Bluepoint was like one of our favorite developers doing all these remakes and stuff and bringing back old classics. And then they finally go, okay, we've been working with Sony, so now we'll let Sony own us, and then Sony screwed them. And it just sucks. It absolutely sucks for the entire industry. And the other story that we're going to be talking about, it's going to happen to a lot of companies there too. So I don't know what Mark thinks, but
all right, before Mark chimes in, let me read this statement from Hermen Hulst, which is, I think says everything. The decision to close Bluepoint was made due to an increasingly challenging industry environment. Rising development costs, slowed industry growth, changing player behavior, and broader economic headwinds are making it harder to build games sustainably, he wrote. He also mentions sort of like a change in direction for Sony in there in the larger statement. Essentially that, their focus is not so much on everybody's got to make amazing single-player games anymore. There's people that will be doing that, right? Insomniac, obviously. And then everybody else is kind of like, we'll see, right? We know Santa Monica is also doing whatever comes next with God of War, whatever comes from the old time with God of War, and whatever Cory Barlog is doing that we still don't know anything about. But Mark, I mean, what was your kind of feeling when you heard this here?
It's a shame. Like, I like the Demon's Souls remake fine. Or, like, I didn't think it was the greatest game ever, but they were a talented group. Frankly, though, there are other studios that Sony should have shut down first. Notably, Media Molecule and Bend Studios, which are both like larger studios that haven't done shit.
But it just makes me feel like for Bluepoint, it's because they're the farthest away from a game coming out. Like, it feels like Media Molecule and Bend probably have something closer to being released, so they are saved for now.
Yeah, but Bluepoint could also...
I don't know that Media Molecule does. It might just be that they're going to give it a chance because they were having to deal with Dreams for all those years, and
But Bluepoint, they could have been they could have just had them, task them with emulation stuff. Put more crap on PS5, or
absolutely,
get Tokyo Jungle running on PS5. God damn it!
Don't have it all be on Nixus to be the port studio, and that's it. Like, you could definitely have another studio that kind of works on those kind of things to expedite that. If you still have ideas to bring more games to PC, maybe they could help with that too. I don't know. I mean, I know Nexus is the one that
like really go in the back catalog, like bring back like Jet Moto. That'd be awesome.
I mean, remember that they are about, you got to make money. So whatever comes out has to make money. We can't be living in dreamland with things that we want as much as we want them.
Remember the good old days of Jim Ryan? He said, like, it's nice when games make money, but we actually like artistic games as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, art goes below the bottom line. Right. And that's in any industry. Movies have done the same thing. Like, you look at big companies like Disney, like, you have to make a superhero movie or a Star Wars movie or a Pixar movie. That's it. Don't make anything else. Don't try anything new.
And then they get really lucky, and it's like, you think that they're at the point of like, oh my gosh, this is going to go way down, and then you get Zootopia 2 that saves their bacon, just like Inside Out 2 saved their bacon. And then we'll see if Avengers, whatever it is, Doomsday
or Toy Story 5
on somehow the last Toy Story did great, even though everybody kept saying they don't want to see it. So it's like one of those things where will this wind up being a thing for Sony? I don't know. The problem is, Randy, you brought it up, these live service games. So Fair Games still gets to be in development, even though that thing seems to be going nowhere. And it's not going to do anything when it comes out. What is it, like, just easier for them to axe Bluepoint because they don't feel like Bluepoint is going to do anything for them? Like, it sucks that a studio with such talented people has to go down because,
I have to imagine, though, that they'll reform and someone else will pick them up, or go independent.
I can't wait for like 3 years when we hear Green Line Studios is being formed and they're
Right.
remaking some whatever game from back in the day and going back to what they were really good at. But again, that's the thing for me. It's like before they were always a partner company with Sony and always doing all these Sony games and helping them out and kind of being great friends. And then they decided to be partners. And boy, did that implode. And that happens sometimes. But I'm with Mark. Hopefully they just reform. It doesn't seem like, as Sean said, a lot of them want to get moved to other parts of Sony. So hopefully they just start over and they do that. Like we see that a lot of times. Like the old Rare developers of Banjo-Kazooie got together. Yeah, Yooka-Laylee wasn't great, but at least they continued to do what they really enjoyed to do. And the second Yooka-Laylee game they came out with was amazing. But hopefully they still get to work together as a group, just under a different name.
Yeah, I hope that that's the case as well. Just again, sucks that this is the case. Do you worry about any other studio before we get off this topic? Do you worry about any other studios within Sony?
I think Mark named the main two that you have to worry about. Media Molecule and Bend, I think, are the two next ones. I don't know if there's other companies I'm blanking on and can't remember, but I think Mark.
Yeah, Sony doesn't have like a
two.
huge lineup of first party studios.
Yeah,
because
it's not like Xbox where when they show that screen every time, it's like 50 names. But
yeah, but I mean, and like I could see Media Molecule because of them working on tools and them working on those kinds of things. I could definitely see them lasting because they could easily be okay with helping other studios in order just to stay alive, right? In order not to have to do what Bluepoint is doing, kind of like what we've heard with the Hellblade 2 developer on the Microsoft side, that they help a lot with technical things.
And I think that is one for like Bungie. Like even if Marathon comes out and just bombs, they have obviously been shown as that company that Sony is leaning on for these live service games and trying to get.
If Marathon bombs, Randy, I'm sorry to say,
but I'm just saying, but that would be the reason they keep them around. But if Marathon bombs, then why would you? But I don't want anybody to lose their jobs. But again, at least Bungie kind of has a niche thing that they have, and Sony really wants to tap into that. And also, they leaned into it going into this. None of it's just worked, and that's been the problem.
I wouldn't expect Haven Studios to last too much longer either, honestly.
Yeah, that feels like unless somehow Fair Games comes out and knocks everybody's socks off, which like I just don't think so. You know, like Marathon has a track record. It has devs that know what they're doing. They've been in that space, as you brought up, Randy. It will at least be competent. You know, Destiny 2, for all it is still great, and they've been able to deliver for the most part on good content. People like the last stuff, so you know Marathon is going to be that level of it'll still be pretty good, and they have a track record of even if it's not great at the beginning, they will find a way to make it, you know, something worthwhile for people that want to stick with it. Whereas, you know, this Haven doesn't have that, right? And that's I worry about them. Bend is, I don't know. Supposedly it was on them that they wanted to greenlight another multiplayer thing because, you know, they can't do
Days Gone 2.
Days Gone 2.
Weeks Gone.
Yeah, weeks. So I guess, you know, they're stuck in that arena because maybe they can't come up with something single player wise that would, you know, really get the board behind it and be okay with having them be in development for 5 years or however long it's going to take. So, you know, yeah, that is a worry of will some of these other studios get the axe too to try to kind of, again, save money or whatever their whole deal is, that they are, you know, the cut development costs and all that kind of stuff that, you know, they are ballooning, to be fair. But and they also don't have the gazillions of dollars, trillions of dollars that this other company has that we now have to shift focus to and talk about Xbox. And my God, what an absolute bombshell happens once again on the day that Xbox doesn't want you to remember that it happened on a Friday. Dropping the news that Phil Spencer is essentially effective immediately retiring. And then Sarah Bond, who nobody mentions in any of their write-ups except for Phil, just resigns as well. Almost making it seem like Sarah Bond wasn't really that important to the whole thing, even though it was obvious to everybody she was supposed to be the next Phil Spencer, right? Matt Booty is promoted to Chief Content Officer because you got to have somebody that's gaming, game dev. He is a former game dev also, game dev, game related in the hierarchy. And now you have, as the head of Xbox, the chief Microsoft Gaming is Asha Sharma, whose last position was part of Microsoft's AI tools, the Core AI, not Copilot, the actual AI part that makes tools that other people use. That's actually the good part of AI. So when she makes that statement at some point that she makes where she says, I don't believe in AI slop, I actually believe her there. That's the only thing I can actually believe that she said in that statement that doesn't ring like somebody just, reading a bunch of bullet points. This is obviously a move that helps Satya Nadella as well, who's been the pusher, the guy that is everything AI, everything. We are going in that direction because it's going to make us more money than gaming ever will. Which, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. We'll see how that works. But Randy, I mean, lots of things could happen here with this, but sometimes it is fair to say that sometimes you can bring somebody in that knows nothing about the whole arena that they're going to be in, and sometimes it actually does work out. Could this be the case, or you think this is just we're just kind of like steadying things until we just knock the whole bottom out of everything?
It's a good question, and it's a question that I don't think anybody has the answers to, even Microsoft. Like, obviously, the news like dropping like it did was so shocking. And I think you and I even were messaging back and forth like when it was first happening, just like, what in the world is happening? Now, obviously, everyone's going to have their own spin on it, and Microsoft is spinning as fast as they can to kind of control the narrative that's going on. I do I believe that Phil Spencer was ready to retire at some point. I don't know if it was Friday, like on the nose, or that they've been like behind the scenes, like transitioning, like they keep saying, because usually if a transition is happening, you kind of at least start hearing rumors. But again, Phil Spencer's been around for so long, and for Microsoft, this last generation has really been rough for them. And I think I totally understand for him to kind of go, yeah, that's kind of it. And then the other stuff is, then you hear, like you said, Sarah Bond. We all thought like she was the next it, but again, maybe people soured on her in Microsoft because, she was next in line, and this generation has not gone well. And they tried to go in a direction that we all thought was interesting and not great as far as a company goes. And that's kind of what they've been saying is like, listen, we want to go back to being Xbox, or commit to Xbox players, or whatever the goofy stuff that they're saying.
Just all sounded like a bunch of baloney that you read to get people to go, oh, they're trying to do something.
I think what they're trying to state is, all right, we've kind of lost focus of like, we're not selling systems anymore, and this whole everything is an Xbox thing was stupid. So we're going to just focus back on Xbox. It's never going to happen,
right?
Ever. Like Xbox game, you can't go back to being committed to just being on Xbox, because it's just not going to work. especially because you put Xbox games on the PlayStation and you were the best selling games on the PlayStation. So there's no way Microsoft will go, well, we don't want that money anymore, so we're going to be exclusive again. No, absolutely not. You're not going to give away that money. So while the statement is really dumb, I wonder where they're going to go with it. And I think they were more worried about that everything in Xbox thing was just really confusing and stupid. So
Which is not going to, I'm gonna sorry. I just wanted to diffuse some of the anybody that sits there and just says blame Sarah for that is wrong.
No, but there's the spin. That's definitely the spin I'm talking about.
Yeah, Phil definitely had a hand in that too.
And I'm sure there's people that are still there that also had a hand in it. But when you're a company, how do you spin it? The person that left us, that was her idea. We had nothing to do with it.
And that's why we didn't promote her
leaving. Yes.
She was a rogue agent. She did it all on her own.
Yes, that's what you do as a company. Nobody's going to believe it. But I'm just saying, as far as the way they went in that direction was bad. And they're going to spin it on Sarah. And I don't believe that one bit. But now this is their chance to spin things around. And I'm just going to echo what I was listening to on Kind of Funny today. To make this transition to the new leadership, you're doing it at the perfect time. Because there's nothing you have to do this year. Because as long as these games come out when they're supposed to, and you can go, hey, in my first year, we had Fable, we had Gears of War, we had the Halo 1 campaign mode reboot. All in my first year, look what we did. Look what we're changing. Even though all of this has been in the works for years. Again, companies speak. That's what you can kind of hang your head on for the first year of being in charge of Xbox. And then we see from there. So for me, it's going to be years until we figure out if this was a good change for Xbox as a whole or not. Or if they're just bringing these people in to kind of ease us into we're not going to actually be a console company anymore, and we're just going to own these studios and write off of their money.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, look, the thing is, right? The stuff that Asha Sharma had to say, she has to say that. Because you still have an entire year of Phil and Sarah set it up for her, and Matt Booty, and obviously Matt Booty has a lot to do with that as well. So got to give him his credit because he's the one that works with the studios more directly than Phil Spencer did. A lot of that, the negativity and the positivity that goes with that, sometimes we kind of forget to give Matt Booty his due, and he should get that.
Do you want to give him a booty call?
How did I know that was coming?
That's why I'm here.
You know what? I'll give you props for that one. All right. So anyway, I don't know how we transition, but so my point is that she had to say this whole statement that she said, right? Of we're going to focus on games. Games are important. You can't do anything without games. We're going to focus on console because we got to sell you another one.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't push the rest of the people that are possibly still on console away. So what do? We got to tell them that we're recommitting. Only the funny thing is Xbox Game Pass is never mentioned at all in anybody's statements. So I wonder if that means that is going away or it's completely changing and maybe we don't do day one or it's going to go $50 a month for day one. Who knows? But honestly, I don't know if I said this, but I canceled Game Pass last month. I have not resubbed. I may resub the PlayStation Plus. I'm not sure. But right now, even though there's games I kind of want to play on there, I don't want to be subbed to Xbox. Or to Game Pass. I think I've gotten to the point where most of the stuff that I play is new. If I really want it and I'm not going to be able to review it or something, I'll just figure out how to buy it at some point. Especially because most of the stuff I play is indies, and that stuff is usually in a range where, $20, $25, not that big a deal. But that's also 1 month of Game Pass, and it's like, listen, I kind of see that light sometimes of like, I was just subscribed because it was $20 a month and it wasn't that big a deal. But when it gets to that 30 mark, and you have other things that are now 30, like ESPN and the Hulu and Disney thing and Netflix and all that, it's like, well, one of these $30 things can go away, need to go away. You know, so but anyway, I don't want to get to that point anymore. Just I guess the thing is we can't really I think the only thing we can really do with Asha Sharma is we gotta wait.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta see, does she actually do something that is done by her at some point within this year where you go, oh, that was an Asha move? And do we get to see that quickly? Is it something that kind of happens throughout? Because really, if all the games hit that are supposed to hit this year, she don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It's just shepherding the big franchises that we know are coming and the Clockwork Revolutions and the other things that are already out there. It's what happens after this year, really, that is the important part for Asha. But that's what makes me really weird about Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond. Why now? Right? Phil Spencer, he's been here for since he started as an intern at Microsoft. He's been here forever. And he doesn't get to finish what's supposed to be the most amazing year for Xbox ever, perhaps? Like, that's crazy to me. You don't let him finish out the entire year. Something had to go down. Somebody had to have said, look, whether it was the last financials that were just absolutely dire and people started going, yo, we can't just keep coasting for another 3 quarters or whatever. Like, we got to do something now, even if none of the actual games change that are going to be released or whatever. Do something now to give people a feeling that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope. There's something that's going to happen here, because almost everything aside from making great games, which they have now done after so many years of not having anything or making everybody wait or whatever, it's like that's not enough anymore, because it took too long. And then you have the worst Call of Duty in however many years since what's a Ghost. I don't know, Mark, has there been a worse one before then? Modern Warfare, was it 3?
I thought World War I was pretty bad, or that was like pretty dire.
No, I'm talking about recently. I'm not talking about,
No, or that Vanguard. I think that was like
okay, Vanguard. Yeah, that was the multiplayer only one, right?
No, that had a story. It was just really terrible.
I know one of the Modern Warfares wasn't well received. Was it 3, the remake or whatever? Because they did it really quickly and it kind of felt like it was kind of extra. But
that was Black Ops 3, I think.
Yeah,
they didn't have a story.
So, the thing is, like, this kind of whole year compounded into, man, you had some nice hits or whatever, and now you're looking in forward, and it's like, wow, you just absolutely took down 2 people that were, the lifeblood of Xbox, it felt like, and you replace them with, okay, people like Matt Booty, whatever, or people don't like Matt Booty. There's a lot of negativity towards him because they want to blame him for a lot of the stuff with the studios or whatever, which honestly is just too much for one guy to do. That's too many studios. I don't know what these other middle managers do. I don't know them. I can't personally speak for what they do, but it's like you have one guy that's doing all that. And then you also have Phil Spencer, who seems like he spends more time playing games than he does actually managing the people that are supposed to be working at these studios. And it's like, maybe Asha's going to come in and have a tougher hand, right? Because there was a lot of talk about Phil's just trying to be cool. Phil's your uncle that comes in and goes, hey, I want to play your game. All right. Oh, it's great. Like, oh, this game's great. How many times do you say this game's coming along and then, Upper Wild got canceled? Perfect Dark got canceled. Then, look, Phil Spencer did a lot of great things. I think he should be commended for that. He saved Xbox. Xbox was in the toilet after Xbox One. He came and saved it. Game Pass was great for the most part until it got to the point where it's now too expensive. Backwards compatibility, that is Phil, right? You got it. PlayStation cares about backwards compatibility again because Xbox made it a thing to care about it, right? Remember Jim Ryan said that it doesn't sell. Why do we need that, right? Who cares about it? So Sarah Bond was very instrumental in getting the Japanese studios to work again with Xbox. So they each had their time in the sun. Like Sarah Bond was going on all these trips, talking with developers, talking with studios. She was helping with on that end. So was Phil. Hamaguchi, Naoki Hamaguchi with Square Enix had a wonderful statement about him that, he said, we just started working together and I was looking forward to many more years together. And then all of a sudden this happened, nobody really had a bad word to say about Phil that has worked with him before. Seamus Blackley, Peter Moore all said wonderful things about him. He's a wonderful human being, but it seems like maybe the actual like management part of Xbox was getting too much for him. And he did say that he had already talked to Satya about retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And there was been rumors for a while that he was going to retire, but it's just like, it just seems like, wow, this just happened like that. And it was a total absolute shock. I don't know, Randy, I mean, looking forward for you, where are there really any avenues that Xbox can like center on that and go, okay, this is our direction. We're going to focus on this, because it feels like, all this talk about we're going to refocus on Xbox. And now it's like, oh, we're going to have exclusives again and all that stuff. It's like, can you really have exclusives again?
Yeah,
you can't take them off of PlayStation like that.
No. To me, you have to go the opposite way. And this is the easiest way to play the games. It wasn't like the rumors that the next Xbox was going to be like a console PC and have ability to have Steam and stuff on it. That's the way you go, is go, hey, on our box, now you can play the most amount of games, and go the opposite with it. Not we have exclusives, but it's, hey, you can play everything. You want to play a PlayStation game? They won't give it to us, but they give it to PC, and now you can have access to it on our Xbox because we have Steam on our Xbox. Honestly, I don't know which way they go, other than they just need to start nailing some of these games. And I think that's where I think, to your point, where you're like, I can't believe they're having Phil leave now before the biggest year. I think that's the perfect time for him to go, is so that this biggest year can be kind of a cover while the new regime kind of has a chance to get their feet wet.
It's like his victory year.
His victory year that he's not there.
But we're still going to give him credit for it.
Yeah, and he also doesn't have to be at like Summer Games Fest or announcing a whole bunch of new shit. Like,
I mean, technically, he is staying on, and Sarah Bond as well. They both are staying on a special like council or till after June.
They're not going to be the front and center people anymore, though.
Right.
So. Yeah. So I think it's a perfect time for him to step down and allow the new regime to kind of have the cover of these new games. And I know the rumors were whatever this next Xbox is supposed to be next year. We'll see if that gets kind of pushed back, like we're hearing with the PlayStation 6. But especially now with the new regime, we'll see what they kind of.
But it seems like I know that we talked about it last week that there wasn't like a definitive we're doing 2027, but AMD seems to think that they are.
Yeah.
And it's like if there's one of the two that may not want to step down from 2027, it's Xbox, because
for sure.
The longer you let Sony be able to have another console that competes with yours.
Yeah. And again, that's a perfect announcement from the new people. Hey, we have these games coming out the rest of this year, and next year, here's what we're bringing you. And hearing that from the new voices instead of Phil Spencer, hopefully for Microsoft, will give ease to the gamers of going, oh, we have a new group, and they're doing some stuff, and we're going to go great. So again, that's why I think that they're doing it now, is to allow the new voices a chance this year to kind of come up with those next big steps. And with the new generation, it's like, we're the new generation of Xbox, and this is the next generation of the Xbox, and here you go next year. And
I mean, if Asha's right and they want to go back to the old Renegade Xbox, I wouldn't be, mad about that. There was some really cool stuff that came out.
Just don't bring back the Duke. That's all I ask. Just don't
I
go
mean,
that
you can
far
have
back.
it as an option, but
you don't need to go that far back. You don't. It was too big. That's not okay. Don't do it.
Mark, anything that kind of stands out to you that you go, okay, this is completely like, this needs to end, and let's focus on this.
I mean, you might not like it as much now, or you may not care, but I'd say Game Pass. Like it was a good experiment, but it's not panning out like it should.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they really need to get an identity back. Like I think they should go consoles. Like they should just make a box console and say screw it. And I think it's hilarious that they're thinking about like, oh, we want it to be like a PC and you can install Steam on it. It's like, you guys are the origin of the walled garden. Like fucking Gabe Newell left Microsoft to start Steam because you guys were assholes. So,
right. Windows used to be so terrible about, oh, we have Windows gaming and it's like all stuck in this one store, and if you buy it here, that's it. And then they did the whole play anywhere thing where you could then buy it on Xbox and you have a PC copy or whatever. Which
they do that every generation, and it always kind of flames out.
Yeah, I mean, they did say that Play Anywhere will still be the main thing that they talk about, which we saw at many of the showcases they've done. They don't talk really about, day one. They mention it, but they don't make it a big deal about, day one Game Pass. It's like the big thing is this is Play Anywhere. You can play it wherever you want, which to me, I still think that is a viable thing. Because again, it's not like the new generation is going away. They are coming after us, and they are the ones that care about, I want to be able to play this game on my phone, on my tablet, on my PC, on the Xbox, on my TV, whatever. Like my daughter tells me all the time, why can't, she has my old Xbox One. She plays Roblox on there, and she likes the fact that she could take that and then send it to her tablet and just keep playing on her tablet or play on her phone or whatever. And I know us old heads, who cares? Whatever. But Matt Booty was not wrong when he said they are competing against TikTok. They're competing against YouTube. People are watching that because it's so much easier to get on my phone and go, then sit there and grab a controller and go, I'm going to play this game for 2 hours. For us, especially for Mark, you don't care about that stuff. Right? You're so used to playing games the way you do that none of that stuff matters. But for those generations coming after us, it's all about that attention or whatever. And now that's why we're seeing them go backwards and want all this analog stuff and all this all these things that kind of you have you can grab with your hands, attachments, even sewing and all this other stuff that people are doing now because oh wait, digital isn't so great as it seems to be. So at least I want to have something physical, right? Like I don't know. I'm like that with books only. I don't care so much about the other stuff, but I kind of get it. Like my daughter has a record collection, so I understand. Mark and Randy both have huge game collections. You can see behind Randy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mark is always talking about his retro games that he bought, or like he just talked about today, old cartoon. So
the problem with that philosophy though is like it's just like when Facebook is trying to make a Roblox competitor, like they're trying to transform.
But Roblox has a huge. I mean, Roblox is like we're talking about a huge chunk of gaming's overall like growth. Yeah.
That's the point. I think I saw the graphic that like Roblox had more concurrent hours played than like all other video games combined or something.
Yeah. Surprised me.
And it's like, it is too late for Facebook to try this shit. It was too late 5 years ago. It's really too late now. Like the path they may be
somebody has to try, because if you don't, it's like, look, I know the Epic Store sucks, but at least there's competition. Right? You don't want to just sit there and let them keep being out there.
There was already competition with GOG, and that is better than the Epic Store.
It's two different things. GOG is all about, feels like mostly like old games and preserving games and stuff like that. And
they do have occasional new games on there, though. And frankly, if I was going to buy, if forced to choose between competitors, I choose GOG because at least it's a DRM free.
Look, we all know that Roblox is doing damage to itself. But I don't think it's going to ever do damage to itself enough where it will just completely go away. So you need to have somebody that tries to do something that competes against it outside of Fortnite. And I don't think it's wrong. Look, if Facebook fails, it's not like they haven't failed at other things. So, whatever. the thing is that it is a viable thing to want to have Play Anywhere. I do agree with you. I do think that Game Pass. The thing that I hate about this is that Game Pass is amazing for the kind of games that I love to play. The indies, Randy, will play those as well. You as well, Mark. Sometimes, it's great for that kind of discovery for those games. But the majority of the people that are on Game Pass are either playing it for the back catalog of AAA stuff or the day one AAA, AA-ish Xbox stuff. And at some point, the thing is, like, can you put the genie back in the bottle? Will you get people to now buy these games that they got so used to? Oh, I don't have to buy it completely. I can just rent it. Right? And it's like, now you're asking me to pay $70 for Avowed. Will I do that?
Right.
Probably not. Right? That's the thing. It's like, oh, they'll pay $70 or more for Forza Horizon 6 and Halo and maybe Gears and Fable, maybe. But when you get outside of the core and, Elder Scrolls, whenever the hell that ever comes out, or Fallout 5, or, in the, myriad ether that we're still alive and that actually releases, that, like, those huge ones. Yeah. But Call of Duty, whatever. But it's like the smaller ones, what happens to them? What happens to Compulsion? What happens to Double Fine? What happens to I can't think their best studio. I can't think of it right now. Outer Worlds 2 and all that. Obsidian.
Oh,
like, what happens to Obsidian? Right? Like, you're AA intensive. Do those do enough? Even if you sell them maybe you might have to sell them at $40 or $50, and that's your level, because people won't pay $70 for your game, right? I don't know. It's just I don't. The only thing they could do exclusives is the things that we've already seen them do exclusives with. The smaller stuff, the keepers and South. But the thing is, that doesn't make people buy your console. Nobody's buying the console for Keeper and South of Midnight and Avowed, and the ones you're going to buy the console for, they're already on PlayStation. You're not going to take them off PlayStation so that you hope that they sell on your console again. Now, they're really in a tough bind where it's like, do you kind of just keep existing and keep losing, or do you kill it? Randy, really, do you think that that's what's going to end up happening? They're just going to end up killing it?
Unless they come up. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people in the world that are smarter than me and can figure this stuff out. But I've always felt like Game Pass was a Hail Mary from Xbox because the Xbox One generation did not go their way. So they wanted to make a big splash, and everyone was saying it was the best deal in gaming because it was. And now Microsoft it's too good of a deal, so they raised the price, and now we get all butthurt about it.
Raise the price again?
Yep. And once you raise the price too much, then the gamers go, all right, it's not a good deal, I'm out. So then how do you go back with it? So it's exactly what you said. It's like, you can't now lower the price of Game Pass.
They could lower.
No, because then people are going, well, then you just were ripping me off. And now you have to give me something because you made me feel bad. And it's tough to get people to buy back in once they've left, unless you come out with that killer app that you have to play. So, I mean, the only way that they could lower the price is if they change the format of Game Pass and go, all right, well, like you said, it's not day ones anymore. And that's where they're trying to get the money. They raised the price because everyone was just doing Game Pass, and all these companies were hurting because they weren't getting as much money as they were hoping from the Game Pass stuff. And honestly, the only way you can fix it is something that would just piss everybody off. I was like, I've always liked, I do the top tier of PlayStation, even though I really need to drop it because they've just given up on the classic games, and they've always been bad. But I like the demos that they can put out there, because it's not just here's a snippet. Like, it's not like the old school levels where here's a snippet of a level. It's you can play the game, and depending on the size of the game, for an hour, up to I think The Witcher 3 was like a 4-hour demo. And I played the whole.
They've done 5 before.
Yeah. So, and you can play a good chunk of the game. Do you really like it? Now you can buy it. You can continue where you were from. Those are the demos I like, where it's like Nintendo will do that. Hey, start playing your game, try it out, and then when the game comes out, you can continue right where you were, and you're not restarting.
Steam is doing that right now. Steam Next Fest going on right now.
I mean, that's how you get those smaller game titles without a Game Pass formula. Like the games like Keeper, most people aren't going to pay attention, but you put it on Game Pass and now, hey, I'm going to try it out. Like that Mio Memories and Orbit game. Like, yes, it's a Metroidvania and I like those, but that game didn't really look that great to me, but it was on Game Pass. So I tried it out for a little bit. So that's what you need to do. Is like, all right, lower the price, but now make it, you can play all these games day one, but it's like you get a snippet of it. And then because we've lowered the price so much.
Yeah, you can do the EA Play trial, right? Yeah. They let you play 10 hours. I don't know if they can let you play 10 hours.
10 hours is a lot. 10 hours is a lot.
Maybe Fable for 10 hours, but not.
EA can get away with that because the people that are going to play more than 10 hours of an EA game are the ones that are going to put 500 hours into it.
Right, yeah.
But that's honestly, that's one way they could do it, where you can lower the price of Game Pass back to where it was and go, hey, but it's just, you get a bunch of games that you can try out, and then the ones that you really like, then you can pay the full price to. Obviously, the big ones, I don't know if they would work as well, but as far as like their, like you said, double A's and stuff, but that's just tough to sell too, because you already made that deal so good, so it still feels like it's a step back. So
I do think PC Game Pass is going to go away. It'll just get replaced with the premium tier.
So, but to answer your question, I don't know what they can do to kind of right the ship enough. They can try to level out the dip, but I don't know how they can go back, and it's going to be tough. But again, they're far smarter than me, and they're working on all this stuff, and I hope so, because I like the competition, and I like that we have, Nintendo and Xbox and PlayStation all coming out with stuff, and they're all doing things a little bit different, and then we can talk about it. But I am very, very worried that Microsoft is their days in gaming could be numbered.
And Xbox co-founder Seamus Blackley believes so. He says that after he gave praise to Phil Spencer, and he says Satya Nadella has made an incredible number of bets and invested an incredible amount of money and credibility in the transform model AI future. Xbox, like a lot of businesses that aren't the core AI business, is being sunsetted. They don't say that, but that's what's happening. I expect that the new CEO, Asha Sharma, her job is going to be as a palliative care doctor who slides Xbox gently into the night. It just seems really true, he continued. I imagine asking somebody if it made sense to put a major motion picture studio into the hands of somebody who didn't like movies, or a major record label into the hands of somebody who'd never seen a live show. Why would you do that? Well, you only do that if you're looking at the problem in a more abstract way. A lot of what he said there is not wrong. But you are at the point where you need somebody to come in that isn't looking at this from a gaming perspective, doesn't care about what developer X says about this, or publisher Y says about that. This is what we're doing, and I don't care who we piss off. This is what we're doing. And maybe that works. Maybe that becomes the final nail in the coffin, because we know how this gaming industry works. Eventually, if you go against the grain too much, everybody starts, you're the evil entity, right? It's kind of what happened with Xbox. That's what was the big, we're all super consumer and everything. And then guess what happened? It started becoming you're the evil doctor out there, putting, raising your console prices too much, or raising Game Pass. And it's like, why would I want you at all? You need to go away, So I think it's interesting that he brings that up. I could definitely see that happening if he's really, really, really sad. As a huge Xbox, I still have games that came out in this year that I have on Xbox that I'm just kind of like, wow, I really don't want this entire console. Could they get to the point where somebody just says, oh, I don't care about y'all's old games? It's all gone. It's all gone. Like maybe they make it to where you can still download stuff, but you can't buy anything off any of the stores. You know, it's like, could we get to that point? Hope not. Hope we don't get to that point. But it's like, dude, Satya doesn't care, man. You know, so and then you have another person that now is not a gamer. Does Matt Booty have enough? You know, that's the thing with Phil. Phil had a lot of suavidity. He could go into corporate and tell them, yo, this is why this is important. This is why you need to buy Activision Blizzard for $70 billion, which, you know, you can kind of say it was his nail in the coffin there, because that changed everything for that company. But he had the ability to go in and be like, yo, spend that money. No, we need to keep things going this way. Matt Woody probably doesn't have any of that. So it's like, are the game, you know, she could say the games are important, but will the games really be important at the end of the day when she is the one that's going to be she's going to be looked at to be making the decisions? And, you know, she is much more willing to side with whatever Satya Nadella wants, as opposed to Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond, who might have been willing more to fight against it because they have more of that gaming background. You know, who knows if what her 3 pillars are going to be about. She does mention again the future of play, which we heard Phil Spencer talk about a lot as well. You know, she had done, you know, I mentioned that she wasn't part of, you know, the Core AI, the tools part. Maybe that she does come up with something different that other people aren't doing to kind of be the thing that kind of pushes them forward. But what happens with this console PC thing that they are doing is going to be interesting too. Like, will they actually go through with it? And will they keep with that direction? You know? But all right. I think we've kind of hit everything, unless somebody wanted to make sure we hit something about it before we got off the topic. Okay.
I think the backpedaling to the spin about her being a gamer is kind of funny.
Yeah, I saw that, you know, she had just made an X account or whatever.
Right.
Basically for this announcement.
She made an X account a while ago. She just started kind of posting.
Right. And then people thought that she was a bot.
Right.
It wasn't her. And that, you know, she all of a sudden, now there's somebody playing games for her.
Where have you heard that before?
You know, she's not Phil. That, you know, spent all that time playing games. She has somebody playing games for her. She has no idea what Borderlands 2 is or any of these other games. Like, you know, that's what matters. Look, listen, when it comes to business, when it comes to that, you don't necessarily have to be an ex-football player. You don't have to be you know, a major #1 gamer to understand the business part of it. And this is yeah.
But that's why I think like Bond and Spencer worked well, because Spencer was the gamer and Bond didn't have any pretense about that crap.
But she played games too. She just wasn't like
hardcore,
you know, out there, like really, oh my God, talking about it. Yeah. I love finding out that I forgot to press the go live button on one of these social media things that I spent time actually making sure that was on here. Hilarious. We were too involved in this.
Platform.
Yeah. But all right. Let's go ahead and move on to some other smaller news and notes so we can finish the show. Steam Deck is currently out of stock in the US, as Valve says that this could be a regular occurrence. They are also suffering from the RAM shortage and all of the memory issues and all of that. You know, they recently discontinued the smaller edition of the like weakest version of the Steam Deck, the one that has the smallest amount of memory.
Yeah, the 256 one.
Yeah, so you know, that's probably helps them, so they have one less SKU that they're having to make. Any thoughts on this, Mark, at all? Or
No, I mean it's only going to get worse before it gets
Yeah,
better.
definitely. Ubisoft had a lot more layoffs. Woo! Who could have
That's why you
not seen
brought me
that
on the show. I
coming?
know.
Right? Yeah. Well, we already had more bad news, Randy, so why
always
not
fun.
throw it in
Always-
there?
Let's go back and talk about Reanimal or something. I don't know.
So around 40 employees or 8% of the workforce at the Toronto studio are gone. They were the ones that were responsible for Watch Dogs Legion and Far Cry 6. You know,
Well, like
yeah.
I said last week, or the last time I talked about Ubisoft, I wouldn't expect that game to last any longer, despite their claims.
Yeah, and Toronto is also the one developing the Splinter Cell remake that is still in development. People, I don't know
For 2 more weeks.
whether Ubisoft wants you to believe that or not. So, yeah, there's that. Not great news. Ubisoft was working on multiple Assassin's Creed and Far Cry games, both single player and multiplayer. One of the Assassin's Creed multiplayer games was part of that, like 5 canceled games or whatever that we talked about last week. I don't know, Mark. You're the Assassin's Creed guy, so
Yeah. Don't do any multiplayer games. Please don't. And
Ubisoft is the king of multiplayer games. What are you talking about? They love doing those.
And their Far Cry idea sounds even worse. So,
I feel like that one is happening.
well, I meant the single player one. How it's
okay.
A cult taking over your family, and you only got 72 hours to like find them. It's like, oh god.
Well, so they're taking the theme of Far Cry 5 and just
and making it worse.
Yeah. Randy, how do you feel about all this stuff with this happened with Ubisoft?
I don't know. Ubisoft has been in a struggle bus there for a little bit anyway. So, I mean, every company has, but I mean, meh.
Yeah.
I do continually like Yves Guillemot's going on about how his son being hired wasn't nepotism. It's like, sure, keep going with that.
No, it's not just nepotism. They have to keep it in the family.
Right.
They have to have something that keeps Tencent from just taking it over completely. So, it is what it is with that. On the eve of, we know that we will get Pokemon Presents on Friday, because it always happens on the 27th, Pokemon Day.
Because it always takes over my damn birthday.
I'm sorry, Randy. But happy birthday. Since
my birthday is awesome this year, so I don't even care.
Hey,
Pokemon can do whatever Pokemon wants to poke.
Well, we know that we have the Pokemon Pokopia a week later, which, by all accounts, everybody seems to like it. So, that's good. Positive for Pokemon. Another positive thing, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, the original. Not the original ones that came here, but they were the original. They were the original ones in Japan, okay? They are coming to Nintendo Switch 2 next week. They won't be part of the Nintendo Online subscription, very similar to how they did Pokemon Yellow, Red, and Blue years back. You got to buy them separately, and they are $20. Some people are complaining that's too much.
My response to those people would be look at the eBay prices and then shut the hell up.
Also, my response to that is, did you not expect the Nintendo tax?
It's like, honestly, for Nintendo, $20 is fine. Yeah. I was looking at the PlayStation store today, and that Rayman collection was $20, and it made me go, I might. Like, I hated the original Rayman, but for $20, that's not bad. Yeah, so for these Pokemon games, $20, that's totally fine.
Just buy the Gex collection instead.
Right.
Exactly. That's better than the Glover one I bought. That was terrible.
Glover.
Hey man, Jim Ross said it best. Gotta love the glove.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean maybe not as bad as Croc. I don't.
Croc was all right. I mean, it was no crash or anything, but
Mark is still upset that Bubsy 4D is existing. So
it's supposed to be good. Right? Why are people saying it's going to be good?
I'm telling you right now, guys. Randy, you need to get on it. Demon Tides is it's way better than Big Hops. It's gonna be. That's a platformer you need to go play.
I'm going to play Bubsy 4D, man.
Yeah. but that's the same dev.
Yeah.
So that's why I have faith, because Demon Tides is really good. And if they're making Demon Tides awesome, Bubsy, which, has more writing on it because that's sort of a franchise.
So weird. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Mark makes this joke a lot, but Xbox is really missing the boat with Blinks to Tron. You need to bring back Blinks to Tron Fever at this point.
Bring back Banjo. Let's go.
Or you can
That's
bring
what we
back,
need.
Our friend Robert's favorite game, Conquer.
Nah, we can leave that.
Also, King of Meat, another Amazon published game, is going down. This is another in a string of games that Amazon is basically sunsetting. The King of Meat servers will now close on April 9th. So if you're a fan of King of Meat, the co-op platform
was apparently it only ever got 300 people playing it, I think.
Right.
I'd never even heard of this game.
Yeah, I barely have heard too. I think you mentioned it once when it came out, like 4 months ago, and that's about it.
Yeah, I remember mentioning it, like you said, and then I've never heard of it again.
How much longer do you think that High Guard game lasts?
Did their website ever come back?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the layoffs last week. It's never great when the game just came out and you're already having layoffs.
Yeah, their site's up for the moment, let's say.
Oh, okay. At least they brought it back.
Hey, and that Star Trek Voyager game sold decently, Mark.
Yeah, which is surprising, but I'm happy.
And people like the Star Trek fans come out in force, man.
No, they don't. Not anymore.
Still, sometimes.
It's been a while. It's been a rough ride for the Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right? You had your Paramount show.
Yeah, the Paramount show.
There's one right now that's terrible. So.
Yeah. But all right. Unless anybody has any other news that they want to discuss, I guess we will end the show as we always do with the games that are coming out this week. The Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is coming to Switch 2.
Oh, that's going to play great.
Yeah, man. When they announced that thing, I was like, this already had problems on...
Hey, but that's why they're calling it the Anniversary Edition. Play Fallout 4 the way it released originally, with all the bugs included. That's what you're going to be able to play.
Right. That's the important part. I thought Tides of Tomorrow got delayed to May. So I won't mention that. Hunt the Night comes out, Switch, PS5, Xbox Series on the 26th. Reigns the Witcher is going to hit mobile and PC also on the 25th. The No Sleep for Konami date from the AI, the Somnium Files people, coming to everything. Coming to the things that are not Switch, because it was on Switch before. So PS5, Xbox, and PS4. That game was actually pretty decent. PC Building Simulator 2. I'm surprised Mark won't get on that.
I like the idea of those games. I'm not good at them.
Subway Surfer City also comes out as well on the 26th. The Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green that we talked about already on Switch. And then Switch 2 gets the Resident Evil 7 and Village ports. And then coming to everything, the most anticipated game for Randy for this year, and for whoever knows for
copy pre-order.
Yeah. I've got mine pre-ordered too. We all got, this is the one game that we're all going to be playing.
This is our game of the year, because like we show every year, there's not many games all three of us play.
Yeah,
so we're all going to play this game. So it's guaranteed to be top 3, unless it's a horrible game.
Yeah, which it won't be. Can you imagine that? We all excited for this game, and then, and also got Tales of Berseria Remastered, which Mark, I know you like.
I like some Tales games, but not many.
This is I like this because I remember liking the protagonist a lot because she's different.
That's the girl one, right? Where
she's she's dark.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, huge release, one of the biggest releases of the entire year, happening here at the end of February. Also, Scream 7 coming out that same day.
That's why it's my birthday. I get Resident Evil and Scream on my birthday. It's great.
Amazing. Yeah. So, all right, and we'll definitely next week. Well, Randy, you're gonna have to be on again because we're gonna have to all talk about Resident Evil.
Yeah, hopefully I get a chance to play.
Yeah.
I got a bowling tournament this weekend, so I literally have my birthday to play this game before Monday. So
hey, there you go. But all right, thank you so much, Randy, for being on. We always appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, wherever it is that you do. Check us out. That's really awesome. Go like, subscribe, follow on any platform that you do listen to us on, whether it's on podcasts. Just search Video Games to the Max there, on the YouTube channel, W2 Network, which, you get our other shows as well, the Radlets guys and Otaku Cafe. And, we're on Twitch, we're on all that. So, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Later.
Later.